The death of a body is not the end, the soul lives on. So followers of the Jewish faith believe. The Quran promises that the pious and the righteous will be in delight, and the wicked disbelievers will be in the blazing fire. And Christians have their own ideas of heaven and hell. But on one central point, all religions unite. Death is only the beginning of a new existence. Hard evidence for this belief is at best elusive. But in our programme tonight, a retired bingo caller from Birmingham claims to provide that evidence.
You soldiers all that now are
This is it. This is it.
Peter, Bob and Carl are brothers from Birmingham, all on a mission.
Oh, this is definitely the church, without a shadow of a doubt.
Their quest to unearth details of Peter's claimed past life as John Raphael, a soldier in the English Civil War of the 17th century.
While I live not where I love.
About 20 years ago, I really became interested in hypnosis. My brother Peter's daughter-in-law agreed to come along for a session.
Well, she dropped out for whatever reason, and something was telling me to go for it.
Testing, testing.
And I was very hopeful that we may get something.
And just relax. Relax. You're now drifting back through your childhood, beyond to a previous life. Where are you? I'm going to church. What's it called? And what's happening around you?
St Michael's. I'm praying with my wife Elizabeth and little Izzy.
What year is it?
1638.
Peter, tell me what your name is and what work do you do?
John Raphael. I'm a foot soldier in Cromwell's army.
Fire!
Me, a parliamentarian foot soldier with the 1st Foot Regiment. And I thought to myself at the time, when people are going to hear this, they're going to think that I'm 2 bricks short of a full load.
Peter and Bob began their quest for the truth about Peter's past life in the tiny Nottinghamshire village of Halem.
There's the church. This is it. You've even got the name right. Gosh. And these trees weren't here, I'll tell you that, 350 years ago. Oh, this is definitely the church, without a shadow of a doubt.
We went into the church. Luckily, it was open. And as soon as Peter entered, he said, "There's something wrong."
Oh, hang on a bit.
What's wrong?
You see where that altar is up there?
Yes.
Well, I tell you, 350 years ago, the altar was this end.
This end?
So,
Why would they
I mean, you
change
can see the pews have actually been changed completely around.
Baffled by the fundamental change, Peter and Bob sought out church warden Richard Brown.
That altar's been there since the church was built, 700 or over years ago. It's never moved. The altar has been there all the time.
However, working on a hunch, Richard uncovered old plans of Halem Church.
But in 1890s, the church was altered. So when John Raphael walked into the church, in his day, he would look to his right, and there would be the altar. So Peter would be correcting what he was saying.
Are you OK, Peter?
Encouraged by this success, the brothers scoured the graveyard.
We were looking for a name. We were looking for my name, John Raphael. I was drawn to one particular grave.
What's wrong with it then, Peter?
I'm not happy about this grave at all.
Happy about what?
I feel as though I'm going to throw up. Now, I've looked at a lot of the other graves, and I have no problem at all, but this one is bothering me.
We bent down and we scratched away the first piece of moss where we hoped the initial would be.
It's up here somewhere. It's not going to be a J shape.
That is a J coming up. That's a J.
And then an O, H-N. And by this time, I was getting very excited.
Go on, Rob. Try the next. Try the next. Gosh. If the next one's an R, well, I don't... Jesus. And the first initial that came up on the surname was R. And I thought, oh dear, oh dear. If I'm correct, if it is my grave, the next one will be an I, won't it?
It can't be right. It's too good.
I could do without an I.
It's coming.
I don't want to know this.
Oh dear. No, it's a no. It's a no.
I was quite relieved that it wasn't me.
You can't get much closer, can you?
You can't.
It seemed the trail had gone cold. Peter agreed to undergo further regression to see what details might emerge of his army exploits.
Beginning to see where you are.
I was asking general questions to Peter to gather information for our research. He suddenly became agitated and moving about on the seat he was on.
Tell me, what's going on?
The soldiers. Oh, the Vikings.
I remember that myself and the rest of the pikemen, we were lined up in a straight line. And we had been tanked up. Things were a bit hazy with all the beer we'd poured down our throats. I remember that we had our pike staffs at the ready. We attacked Newbury on the 17th of September, 1643.
What else did you see, Pete?
All these soldiers are fighting.
He appeared to be in a somewhat desperate fight and struggle. He was throwing himself about and shouting.
Then everything went black.
The Battle of Newbury is recorded by historians and at the time has been fought on the 27th of September.
But it was definitely the 17th of September.
So we've got a shortfall of some 10 days from what's claimed. One reason for that might be there was a change in calendar in 1752 when we actually went from the Julian Gregorian calendar and we lost 10 days.
Another beautiful day for it, lads, as usual.
Spurred on by another hit, Peter and Bob were joined by younger brother Carl as they expanded their mission to include Scotland. Believing he'd been stationed in the border regions, Peter and the brothers were determined to track down his campsite.
Yeah, you see where that field's over there? It
just looks like fields over there.
Oh, there's the tree to the right,
yes.
just through the tree. Right now, when I was on guard on the mount, when I was walking along, then, then the tree that I remember seeing is in front of me. I tell you what, look at
the
this.
Trees.
Just look at
oak trees.
Oh. It's hardly
Cromwell's
changed.
oak trees.
Hardly changed in all those years.
Look at that.
This has got to. There's nothing on here.
This is it.
This is it.
I was able to pinpoint where it was.
Definitely. This is
And
it.
as we got to the edge of the embankment, that's when the ravine appeared. And my initial reaction was, it hasn't changed at all in the last 350 years. I couldn't believe it.
There's this river. You see,
It's just a stream.
the river used to be quite high.
You
couldn't miss it.
I remember we would sit around the campfire, we'd play cards, sing songs. We'd also carve initials on trees.
When waking, can I take a moment?
However, despite Peter's enthusiastic claims, local historians believed no such campsite existed in the Haddon area.
To stand so stern.
Well, the brothers came to see me about 3 or 4 years ago and told us about this campsite, but our records had no information about campsites at all.
Come on then, guys, let's go look. Let's have a look at this.
Undeterred, the brothers armed themselves with metal detectors to see what evidence they could unearth.
And on bringing us to this site, we've started to do some metal detecting. And these are some of the articles, or the artefacts that are coming out of the ground. We appear to have 2 musket balls, possibly from the Civil War period. A love token, which is used to be a coin, but had an initial stamped in it. Left hand, I've got part of a broken spur.
Well, they were all scattered around.
All down here.
Most of the foot soldiers were along here.
So could these artefacts mean that the brothers had discovered a previously unknown Civil War campsite?
We're actually left with some quite convincing information, I think. Musket balls, a spur here, some of the buckles and things, do certainly argue that we're looking at a campsite where people could have camped overnight during this Civil War period.
The next discovery was when Peter's story was featured on television.
I was watching The Time and Place on television, and the camera went to a man that I recognised as my father in a previous life.
Peter.
We were in the hospitality suite, and after a few minutes, the producer said to me, "Pete, there's a phone call for you, if you can take it in that booth next door." He said, "It's from your daughter." Now, at that particular time, I thought that he meant my real-life daughter, Karen, who lives in near Loughborough. Well, I picked the phone up.
And I said, I'm really not a loony, and I'm phoning from London, and I was your daughter in a previous life.
Now, my first reaction was, this woman is stark raving mad. I said to Barbara, do you remember on either your 5th or your 6th birthday on the farm? She said yes. I said, can you remember what I made you? She said...
for my 6th birthday, he made a horse out of wood.
I said, that's correct. I said, what else?
And put green and yellow ribbons around it.
Happy birthday!
Could Barbara Hartfield really be the daughter of John Raphael? Peter is convinced.
She's mentioned a couple of things that she couldn't possibly have known about unless she was my daughter.
Back on the road, Peter and Bob head for London and the Clink prison in pursuit of their latest lead.
This could very well be the place.
Well, it's apparently on the side, the Blackfriars. You said Blackfriars.
When I was thrown down the steps, it was very similar to this, Rob.
And you said down, didn't you?
That's
down.
Ooh. Arrested after a pub brawl, Peter suspects he was jailed in the Blackfriars area. Rosemary Smith, lecturer at the Clink Museum, joined the brothers.
Some trouble started with some of the locals in there. I remember furniture being thrown around, and the next thing I remember is coming in a place very similar to this. This might be the right place. Being thrown down some stone steps, and one ripped into my thigh, and the pain was terrible.
If you were caught drunk and disorderly, which you were,
yes.
Or if you were a debtor, this is the place that you would have been thrown in.
We're still searching for more evidence, and I know that the truth is out there. This is my quest to come to a conclusion. We've got to find John Raphael, and the evidence is out there somewhere, and we will find it. It may take years.
So, what's now, Pete? We've done the Clink,
yep.
Blackfriars,
yeah.
And you've had some strong feelings in there.
That's right.
What do you reckon to? Where do we go next?
Our next venture should be back to Comstock in Devon.
Yes.
Because the last time we were there,
yes,
I remember seeing this lane.
Yes. Oh, yes, I remember.
I've got a strong feeling.
If Peter Hume really did have a past life, maybe he'll have another life after this one. He might even visit Birmingham one day on a quest to learn about the life of Peter Hume and end up watching a rerun of this programme. The medieval French scholar Nostradamus wrote prophecies based on dream-like visions. It seems that much of what he predicted, including world wars and space travel, has come true. But in fact, Nostradamus wrote rather generally about things that would happen in hundreds and even thousands of years' time. It's tougher for today's prophesiers. The public demands specific information about short-term events. And if prospects are catastrophic, the modern-day Nostradamus must raise the alarm.
In early 1996, the IRA were preparing to break their 18-month-old ceasefire and unleash a new campaign of terror on the British public. As they made their preparations, one man named Chris Robinson was experiencing a series of disturbing dreams.
At the end of January, I was starting to dream of terrorist movements. And on the 1st of February, I had a very vivid dream where somebody spoke to me and said to me, you better do something about this, you better send this to the security services. So I then decided that, never mind a ceasefire, I'm going to take action.
To the police, Chris Robinson was no ordinary member of the public. For 6 years, Regional Crime Squad Detective Chief Inspector Alex Hall was allocated to be his police contact. Alex Hall remembers that Chris was very insistent that an attack was imminent.
He'd said that he felt very strongly that the ceasefire was about to end and that he was starting to have a lot more dreams about dogs, that is to say, the IRA, and people being injured.
Chris Robinson dreams in symbols. Dogs mean IRA terrorists, for example. But in this case, the symbols were mixed up with tantalizingly specific details about the location of the impending attack.
He was seeing a bridge, a concrete bridge, pillars, tall buildings, by the waterside, that type of thing.
The Canary Wharf bomb, which ended the IRA ceasefire, was planted underneath a railway bridge by water near tall buildings. Unfortunately, the dream had not been specific enough to enable the police to avert the disaster. Ordinary people with no previous experience of psychic phenomena can also have premonitions. For years, Caroline Harrison was haunted by a dream of drowning at night.
I've always had this dream since my early 20s, and I'm floating up to my neck in very dark black water, and I can see lights in the distance, and there's no one around that I can see, and I know that there's not going to be any help coming.
In January 1996, Caroline and her boyfriend Steve were backpacking through Southeast Asia and planned to take a ferry to an island off Sumatra. Because of her dream, it was to be a daytime journey.
We never ever went on a boat at night time if we could help it. This boat was not meant to leave in the night. It was 3 o'clock in the afternoon, but it got delayed. So we wouldn't have got on it otherwise.
The ferry set off as night fell. Shortly after leaving port, it started to list heavily and then turned over with very little warning.
I was just sort of waiting for Steve to catch up with me, to come out of the cabin, out of the room. And the water just came from behind me.
I took 2 steps towards the door, and the next thing I knew, I felt water around my ankles, and instantly it was over my head. And I swam up and I bashed my head, and I could feel my face was pressed up against the ceiling, and there was no air pocket at all.
It seemed like I was just swimming for ages to get to the surface, and all I could see were these white bubbles in front of my face, and I was like thinking, God, you know, how much more have I got to swim to break to the surface? When I eventually did, there was like lots of people around, all screaming. I was just wondering where Steve was.
I don't know how long I was swimming around for until I found a door. I shot through that, and I just kept swimming until I hit the surface. I felt somebody grab me around the neck. We struggled and spun round. We sank under the water, and then he was gone.
Caroline! Babe! Babe!
Caroline!
Babe! Are you alright?
I'm alive. I can think of places that I'd rather be.
There was a life raft. There was quite a few guys inside it. And then they were going around the edge and just kicking people off. And then we started seeing sharks coming around underneath us, grabbing bodies. Then Caroline and I decided we would swim away off on our own. The people were more dangerous than the sharks because they were so totally unpredictable, so panicky, so frightened.
We drifted off quite a way and we couldn't hear anybody's voices in the end. It was like we were the only 2 that had survived. And I just turned to Steve and I said, God, this is my dream. This is it. This is exactly the same.
We just kept fooling ourselves that we were just swimming. There wasn't any danger apart from the sharks.
Keep on thinking about the food.
We realised that if we started being silent, we would start to dwell on the fact that we were out in the middle of nowhere.
Hey, babe, remember that night market in Kota Baru? Wasn't that just the most fantastic market you've ever been to?
Yeah. Yeah. As soon as you came in, it was like an Aladdin's cave.
Late in the night, the 2 spotted a light in the distance.
It wasn't until the daylight came that we realised that it was land that we were swimming towards. We really thought that we was going to make it to the land because it seemed so close. I don't know if it was the currents that changed, but we were just swept straight past the island. It was just so awful, the sinking feeling you had when you thought there is nothing else in sight now.
Despite their disappointment, daybreak itself brought some comfort.
When the dawn came, it was quite a relief that that we'd actually made it through the night and it wasn't pitch black anymore. My dream had always been in the dark.
All of a sudden, bobbing along, we saw a tomato, and then we saw a couple more.
Oh, that's not all our luck used up.
And so we grabbed it and we shared it, and it was nice and sweet and cool and fresh.
Those houses in Burma were fantastic, weren't they?
I could see how drawn Caroline had become, how wet she was and how tired she was. And I could see the determination. And I just thought, oh, I love you. And I just said to her,
we're going to get married when this is over, yeah? OK?
OK.
A floating oil drum offered little help. They spent hours under the blistering sun before their hopes were raised again.
I spy, with my little eye, something beginning with S.
Not the sky again.
Ship.
You are joking.
No, look. It's coming this way.
Come on then, babe, let's swim towards it.
No, we should save our energy.
No, come on, we've got to go. It's our last chance.
Inside, I was really panicking and thinking, there's just no way I can survive another night. I can't go through that blackness again.
And I realised that this was it. We had to make this ship, or we were finished.
In the 20 hours they spent in the water, currents had swept Steve and Caroline 75 miles from where the ferry sank. Their rescue was captured on video.
They didn't spot us till we were like 20, 25 yards away.
My legs felt like they weren't there anymore. They were like really painful and aching, like I'd done non-stop step aerobics or something for like 20 hours.
Of more than 200 passengers on the ferry, Steve and Caroline were among only 47 who were rescued.
I was just so happy, but I was crying as well, and all my panic and fears were coming out because I knew that I was safe and I could let it all go. I feel like the dream was a warning. It's like you can't escape it. It's like it's going to happen and there's no way that you can stop it. It was just meant to be.
This year, lottery player Isabella Hughes claimed her numbers came to her in a dream. She won £2.5 million. So you know what you have to do before you go to bed from now on? Have a large slice of cheese with your cocoa. Good luck and good night.